Now, the Murdoch scum is calling the castle of the celebrity kind of TV show being staged in Wales, in a castle in Wales. And it's calling them cons because they rehearse the various stunts and then they make it look like they're doing it for the first time. So that's why this scum is calling them confidence tricks and lying. But the actual lying is being done by Johnson doing contradictory kind of announcements and plans. And then they and I've got a piece about Priti Patel, no longer surrounded by allegations of bullying or claims of her incompetence. She is celebrated as the kind of top-rated stooge, as she is featured in the court case about Shamima Begum. Now, our campaign, the Khoodeelaar campaign, kind of opposed James E.D. QC, who was one of the liars as licensed law traders appearing in the House of Commons Crossrail so-called select committee 14 years or so ago. And ED could not answer the challenges that our campaign put to him and other people opposing the Crossrail hole put to him. And so ED is now being referred to as Sir James ED. And he is reported in the scum as saying that Shamima Begum would pose a real and serious threat if she was let back into Britain, the Supreme Court heard yesterday. And she is described as having given an interview to the Times where Begum told how she had no regrets about joining the death cult. She was 15 when she fled school in East London, 2015, to join IS in Syria. She married an IS fighter and had 3 children who all died. Begum ended up in a refugee camp where the Times interviewed her. Soon after, then Home Secretary Sajid Javid stripped her of her UK citizenship. Begum's lawyers say she cannot pursue a fair and effective appeal in the camp. The hearing continues today. The court is expected to reserve its judgment. Now, this is the reference to today, meaning Tuesday, the 24th of November, 2020. Now, what we are noticing in that piece, quite apart from the kind of historical and pro-government stooging role played by James E.D., who was lying about big business and for big business under the cover of the kind of instructions he received from the government. And it's important to point out today, 14 years on, that all the big claims that they made about the various benefits that Crossrail, the route, the line would bring to London and bring to the areas it crosses through or cross through, are exposed as having been premature, to put it lightly. Because Crossrail is in a crisis, financial crisis. And the Transport for London has been reportedly pleading for millions of pounds from the government. And if they don't receive the extra funding, then the word or the concept that I have used is that they would mothball or would be forced to mothball Crossrail project until they can find the finance. And it would further delay the start of the kind of line. Now, this is 2020. 14, 15 years ago, James Eady and other licensed law traders were telling absolute packs of lies to members of parliament who were kind of got together again as a cabal to do the ritual of looking at the Crossrail bill and the project, and they were called the Crossrail Bill Subcommittee. And as we have been saying for the last 14, 15 years, 16 years, 17 years, all the MPs that took part as committee members or as speakers on Crossrail on the floor of the House of Commons or as MPs, they lied. And why we are saying that is relevant today is because of HS2. All the evidence shows that train travels are on the decline, not least because of the very serious prohibitive, restrictive costs of the journeys. Railway traveling is restrictive because it is too expensive to buy or afford the tickets. And that is the case, that has been the case well before the surfacing of the pandemic or the virus 10 months ago. And the only physical evidence that has been witnessed and is being witnessed every day of HS2 is its destruction of the trees, plants, woodlands, and communities, and its cost is rising. The cost of the HS2 adventure is well over 100 billion pounds now. That is the kind of budget, or that is the kind of cost that have been allocated to it. And there is no evidence that it is helping transport at all. And it most certainly is doing one thing for sure: destroying the environment. We shall be continuing in the next